Jared, hey, how you doing? All right, let's go and take a look. I've got your work up. Thank you so much for including this written rationale, summarizing your experience with the assignment. This is good. This is teaching me a lot. Gosh, I don't recall right off the top of my head what your major area of study is, but in any visual communications, any design field at all, I would say that the more eyes you can get on the most material possible, do it. I mean, this is you say that you've read zero magazines in your life. And that's okay. I don't really read magazines either, but I look at magazines every chance I get. And the reason I do this is because I look for layout. I look at the layout. I look at ideas. I look for ideas. I look at how designers are handling things. And in that regard, I think that I would recommend that you start doing the same thing. You'll learn a lot and you'll really grow as a designer, regardless of what field of design you're in, by doing so. So the rest of your text really describes things very well. I want to talk about the banner ad itself, though. I've got that up right here, and so look, pretty much everything that you've written here, I want to address in the writing here. Okay, so let's go straight to the banner ad. Now, the banner ad has a few areas that can be improved. Now, are the requirements are here, kind of, but not really. So I know that doesn't make that makes exactly zero sense to you right now, but let me describe. Okay, so right now you've got the masked image, and that's great. You've got the background image, and that's great. And then you've got this. I'm not real sure if this is a headline, but it's not. Okay, how do I put this? All right, in the announcements for this week, I had asked students to submit their magazine ad along with this banner ad so that we could check for successful adaptation. Now, I don't see the magazine ad, so therefore I can't comment in that regard. However, what I'm trying to say here is that you want to show your promotion here. So we don't know what the promotion is. All it says is click here and escape from the stress. What's the promotion? Remember the promotion you set up in your magazine ad? You want to reflect that promotion here. All right. Let me give you a really great formula for success. Now, this is okay. I'm all right with this. In a perfect world, I think that this could be composed differently. Now, I'm not a fan of creating these kind of shapes, and I mentioned that in your magazine ad. And the reason I say that is I think it kind of lacks harmony. And let me show you what I'm talking about. See, right, look at how beautifully harmonious these pieces are because they're all one piece. The viewer is able to absorb and to digest everything in one fell swoop, okay? There's no anomalies. There's nothing saying, hey, something's askew here. This may affect the way you're looking at me, right? We see it here. And every one of the examples here, these are all extremely harmonious pieces. And if you notice, they're all composing the text right over the image. So there's no areas that are kind of separated from the rest of the composition, as we see here. All right, that creates a degree of separation from this area of the banner to this area, thereby reducing visual harmony. My recommendation is to remove those big color swirls and boxes and things from both the magazine ad and the banner ad. I think it'll play much, much more effectively in your student portfolio if and when you decide to include this piece in that portfolio. So the general formula is this. If you don't want to change, and I understand this is your work, this is ultimately your portfolio, right? So if you feel strongly about this, you want to keep it, that's perfectly fine. But I would say this, for the requirements of this assignment, right now, you need to include only animation for the call to action, okay? To increase your adaptation, I would recommend using the same headline, subhead, and then in a condensed version of the promotional offer that is offered in the magazine ad right here, and then only animate that, okay? Then the other thing is you don't really have to include the entire contact information. You can include just the location, located in beautiful St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. You don't have to include all this. Viewers know if they click the banner, they're going to go to the client's site where all of that pertinent information is readily available. Now, the type here is just enormous. It's really not what I would call a very relaxing ad, and I don't mean my comments to sound discouraging at all. I'm just trying to be as honest as I can in this critique. But I don't find this to be relaxing. I think this giant text kind of blinking on and off is kind of more distracting than relaxing. So my recommendation is to really reduce the type. Work the type into the composition instead of pasting the type over the composition. Do you see what I'm saying? Um, and then think about reducing the fade. Just kind of quick fade in, fade out. I think you want to go slow. Don't ever reduce it. Don't reduce it to the point where it's completely disappeared. Because if the viewer happens to look at this viewer right now, they're going to miss all sorts of information. So you don't bring it to complete invisibility, but fade it in, let it sit for a second, then gradually bring it out, not to complete disappearing, but then fade it in again, and then loop that. Okay, see what I'm saying? It'll create a much more relaxed atmosphere. Jaron, thank you so much for including your work, and I would like to see those changes reflected in your final submission, which is coming up here quickly, due next week. So if you have any questions, comments, or if I can clarify anything at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to do so. But let's work towards that end, and definitely want to see these recommendations reflected in your final submission. Sound good? All right, fantastic. Let me know if you have any questions.